LSF believes in the Old Testament God is the demiurge.
Yeah, why not?
He believes that.
Are you agnostic?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not religious, so don't.
Don't anybody yet.
Closet
Full
Gnostic.
heretic. He doesn't want to go full heretic yet.
Why not? Take me to the altar of heretics. I'll wear that crown of thorns proudly on my head.
Yeah, they'll think I'm an atheist.
Well, he doesn't believe that the God of the Old Testament is the one true God. It's the God that cannot know the one true God. So that's the reason why. And I had a fucking joint, and I don't know where the fuck I put the joint now. I lost it. I'm stuck. Your fault, that was it. I'm packing my shit up. What the fuck am I still doing here? I'm going to fuck home. I'm going to fuck home. You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do, Elsa? I'm gonna go home.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna fucking masturbate. That's what I'm gonna do. Sorry, Nargis, I didn't mean to say that in front of you. Not bad.
Coptic. Where is it? Coptic Apocalypse of Peter. That's the one. 78.
Oh, you would love. I read her the one. She fell in love with it, LSF. You had to see how in love she was. She read it. And she read it. The first time she read it like she's read it many times. It was insane. Because she just loved it. Loved it so much. The uncorruptible one.
The one.
The one.
I think I'm going to read it and send it to you as a voice.
I think you should read the what's it called? The trimorphic protanoia. First thought in three forms.
Which page is
and
that?
On the origin of the world is the other one. They're both very good.
Well, read it. This way we
Yeah,
can.
read it.
No, what page? What page is it on?
I'm reading it. I've got it in a book. I've got a different book to you. I don't know if it's in the Elaine Pagels one. Yeah, this is it. I am protanoia. So protanoia is Greek. It means first thought. So noia basically means thought. So you've got like epinoia, which is afterthought. Metanoia, which basically means to change thought. So there's a bit of a thing actually in the New Testament. They use the word metanoia to mean repent. It actually literally means to change thought. So yeah, I am protanoia, the thought that dwells in the light. I am the movement that dwells in the all. She in whom the all takes its stand. The firstborn among those who came to be. She who exists before the all. She, the protanoia, is called by three names, although she dwells alone, since she is perfect and invisible within the thought of the invisible one. I am revealed in the immeasurable, ineffable things. I am incomprehensible, dwelling in the incomprehensible. I move in every creature. I am the life of my epinoia, second thought, that dwells within every power and every eternal movement and invisible light, and within the archons and the angels and the demons and every sound dwelling in, and every material soul. I dwell in those who came to be, I move in everyone, and I delve into them all. I walk uprightly, and those who sleep, I awaken. I am the sight of those who dwell in sleep. I am the invisible one within the all. It is I who counsel those who are hidden, since I know the all that exists in it. I am numberless beyond everyone. I am immeasurable, ineffable. Yet whenever I wish, I shall reveal myself of my own accord. I am the head of the all. I exist before the all, and I am the all, since I exist in everyone. I am a voice speaking softly. I exist from the first. I dwell within the silence that surrounds every one of them. And it is the hidden voice that dwells within me, within the incomprehensible, immeasurable thought, within the immeasurable silence. I descended to the midst of the underworld, and I shone down upon the darkness. It is I who pointed forth the water. It is I who am hidden within radiant waters. I am the one who gradually put forth the all by my thought. It is I whom am laden with the voice. It is through me that gnosis comes forth. I dwell in the ineffable and unknowable ones. I am perception and knowledge, uttering a voice by means of thought. I am the real voice. I cry out in everyone, and they recognize me, the voice. Since a seed indwells them, I am the thought of the Father, and through me proceeded the voice. That is the knowledge of the everlasting things. I exist as thought for the all, being joined to the unknowable and incomprehensible thought. I revealed myself, yes, I am among those who recognize me, for it is I who am joined with everyone by virtue of the hidden thought and an exalted voice, even a voice from the invisible thought. And it is immeasurable, since it dwells in the immeasurable one. It is a mystery. It is unrestrainable, and it is immeasurable by the incomprehensible one. It is invisible to those who are visible in the all. It is a light dwelling in light. It goes on. And then, yeah, on the origin of the world is the other good one. Why, thank you. So, what scriptures do you read then, Nargis?
Well, I like the Bhagavad.
What's your inspiration?
Read everything. Everything I can get my hand on. I don't discriminate, but I don't think all of it.
Bhagavad Gita.
But what you just read sounds very much like the Krishna speech on the Bhagavad Gita when he's introducing himself.
Yeah, that's how old is the?
Much older. They've always known these things. It's not that one plagiarized from another. These were just known truths, I think, that mystics held onto whilst they experienced like deep states of perhaps like awareness, you know.
Well, it's not popular, but my personal opinion is that Christianity began as a spiritual movement via Paul.
Sure, yeah.
If you actually read carefully the letters of Paul, it doesn't mention a sort of embodied Jesus.
Right.
They are.
Like a Gnostic kind of.
Yeah, you want to read this one? Yeah, this is the 2 pages here. I'm going to post both pages here for you so you can see them. Yeah, this is the second one. So it starts on the second my PTR, the second one, and it is page 469. If you want to go to the book, this is out of the book on page 469 also. I think it's easier for you to read it from the book. 469.
I'll download it onto my phone.
This is just one page.
No, it's 2 pages because it folds over to the next page.
Yeah, okay, got it.
This is really interesting. It talks about the Aeon. Oh, you don't have it? You need the Gnostic?
New phone, isn't it?
Just send it to him.
He has it.
Yeah,
Do you have it?
I read it every now and then. Hey, come on, let's read this.
That's the Elaine Pagels version that you've got.
So what?
Oh, the Elaine Pagels?
She's the one translated.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. When I went on vacation, I went to the library and I got the hard copy, the hard one. Man, I didn't want to return that book, but then I felt guilty taking it, so I fucking brought it back to the thing. Because I'm thinking about like.
This is really good stuff. I'm reading it.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
scriptures.
Oh yeah. Bart Ehrman has a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there's a book that goes with it called Lost Christianities. He put the two together because he references them back and forth.
I have Bart Ehrman's Heaven and Hell. I think that's the first book I read of Bart Ehrman. It's quite linear. Huh? Have you read it?
What pages are they, boss?
Oh, in the Gnostic book, it's 469.
469.
Yeah. Not in the scroll. The actual.
Oh right, that's the actual page number, is it?
Yeah, the actual page number. Yeah, not the scroll.
Oh right, hang on then.
What is an aeon actually? Like, how's it understood?
Aeon.
Aeon is who Jesus is in the Valentinian thing.
It's quite nice. Wait, I'll read it for you if you want.
Oh, okay. 469 and it's 469, 470. A little bit of 470 on the top.
I'm just reading from your PTR. That's the one, right? Jesus descends in income.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No. It starts at 469. The one it says the world ruler tries to kill me.
Right.
Not that one.
Just saying, well, you know what? I don't need that. I don't need anything. I don't need anyone. And I'm just going to move away from it. Does that sound reasonable? Does that make me a lunatic or what?
No, I think that might be part of the problem. Why you're having
we have
a hard time.
We have introduced a streamer to the room. We have to be careful. Iviani, you're welcome up. Alistair, we can.
Oh, yes, we do.
So you're giving up on.
I think if you're not doing the one, it's really hard for the other to be successful.
Are we talking about love today, this afternoon?
Yes, funny. What's up? How you been?
Wow. Oh, love is in the air. Love is in the air, for sure.
I am a proud Chicagoan, born and raised.
Okay. The reason I asked that is, and I said I wasn't going to talk anymore about it, but I just want to say one last thing about it, which is that I believe, and I believe throughout this whole thing, that any American has a vested interest in this situation. You don't have to be Jewish, because our tax dollars are very much funding this. So I just want to add that. All right, Andrew,
It's
good morning.
impacting everyone's lives.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay. Just in relation to this conversation, I find it's curious, I suppose, I'll use that word, that people that have suffered a trauma in their history, such as the Israelis/Jews coming out of World War II, and I'll compare that with the Irish that moved to Newfoundland. And when the Irish arrived in Newfoundland, it was already inhabited, of course, by the Beothuk peoples, and they wiped them out. And these are people that are coming from 900 years of subjugation by the British, and yet turn around and do the same thing to the peoples that they. And it's just very curious that don't have that empathy for the people that they encounter. There's some kind of disconnect there, so it's strange. Anyway, that's what was coming to my mind when you were talking about this.
I'm sure there's actually an answer for that, but it's way too long for me to explain here. But just if you're wondering, I'm happy to share my thoughts on that and the difference.
Sure, anytime. Yeah, because it's a strange phenomenon that people have a selective memory, I suppose, or But I came across an article a couple articles. One this morning was about an economic conference that's slated for mid-September in Toronto. Mark Carney's government has been on the world stage trying to attract investment into the country. So this is being sponsored by two of the larger pension plan here in Canada, as well as maybe some of the financial institutions. And they're hoping to, because of the situation within the world, the uncertainty, the changing dynamics of the geopolitics, here in Canada, to offer Canada as a safe haven for investment. And it's one thing to present it like that, and the Carney government has been working. And as he mentioned in that clip that I heard part of, earlier, that the going has been slower than he'd like, or they'd have liked. And so they have a lot of MOAs in terms of some of the larger projects. But Canada has had an issue with this for a very long time, and especially under the previous Liberal government. And that has to do with just the whole regulatory process that you have to go to get these things approved. It takes forever. And of course, people aren't willing to, they want a faster return on their money. And that's really what it all comes down to. So we'll see just how interested people will be to invest in Canada. Because they want to build pipelines, they want to do all this stuff. And then on that note, on pipelines, out of just northwest of Edmonton, Cold Lake, Alberta, they had a large 600,000 liters oil spill out of a pipeline. And this is the concern people have with pipelines, of course. And this is the bitumen coming out of the tar sands. And so it's a mixed solution with salt water. And of course, the salt water, unlike other things, perhaps it stays. That's salt. Once it's there, it's there. So quite concerning for the indigenous peoples in that area. And of course, there's little transparency. I won't say there's no transparency. There's little transparency on what was affected, what mitigations they've done to clean it up, the involvement of the indigenous communities, and then being informed, et cetera, et cetera. So that's quite a concern for Canadians. I mean, that's why, you know, Quebec doesn't want to see a pipeline go through their territory. And these are what you get when you have a large country with all these regional concerns that differ. Alberta has a different concern than Quebec, obviously. Alberta wants to get their oil out. Quebec doesn't want their oil spilling all over Quebec. But
It's such a complicated country, Andrew.
oh God, is it ever? And then let's talk about the North. You know, that adds another dimension to things in terms of you know, proximity to Greenland and this whole golden dome that Trump is trying to promote and conceive of. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so, and I guess the other one that really hit me this morning was that Doug Ford, who's the Premier of Ontario, has just, they purchased a used private jet for him at $28 million. So I don't know where he's jetting to in Ontario that he needs a private jet, but apparently he does.
I need a private jet.
Don't we?
Why don't we move over to Susie, since we're having kind of a shortened room today? So I would love to hear from you, Susie. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, hi, and I just exited the tram that I was driving in while listening to you, Bright Minds. I think that what I would like to share is that I went to a Aarhus University conference last night that was named Resilience, and we had from 4 different departments, from history, from technology, from sciences, and also the head artistic director of the Royal Opera of Denmark as the speakers. And very sobering, the topic was picked because, like at the moment, the US is participating in a war, but in countries like Denmark, we expect that we will be in a war and not only participating in a war. So that's the vibe of Europe and the Nordic countries. That is that our mindset is settling into preparing with emergency radios, especially male children, teenagers. They expect that they'll be part of an army. So it's actually a major mind shift to the sort of not only bipolar world order, but, you know, China, India, possibly Russia, Europe on its own, and the US as the new centers. And it was just very interesting. And I'm very happy to say that conversations like the one we have in this room and other places in Clubhouse made none of the points that were made new to me. But I think it's interesting that it's sort of spreading out in many corners of both research and society. So I think that's what I would love to share today.
I have a question for you, Susie. I know you don't represent your whole country, but what is your take on America's Western European allies? Do you feel like this is something with the new administration could be reversed or healed, or do you feel like things have broken down in a way that...
I think the last suggestion, that is that when I talk to ordinary Danes, there's a lot of people also on social media that says things like, I hope nobody gets insulted, that Trump is stupid, he's a lunatic, let's get rid of him. But then when it comes to the speakers and the audience yesterday, it's a much more, actually the first speaker, he said, don't have the illusion that things are going to change if Trump disappears, because there's a whole power shift of power, not only in the United States, but focusing on the United States to answer your question. That is that we are experiencing a new world order where we'll have to look at where each sort of entity, like Europe, where do we get our resources from? Are we self-sufficient or are we dependent on others? and Europe is in a bad place there, and US could be in a good place because it has access to most of the things that it needs to sustain itself. So the expectation is that the US will go its own way, and it will have no reason to reconnect with Europe after this administration.
Oh man, that is not good news, Susie. So we need you to put a good word in for those of us back here who really want to rebuild relationships. But I have no illusion. Look, I personally feel the world order needed a bit of shaking up anyway. And also not to mention the AI impact that's coming. I think China just announced that it plans to be AI dominant by 2030. And there's so much happening. Sam Altman is talking about a public fund so that humans can benefit or get money, contributions when robots displace them and more. But Susie, I want to say that we can't, I know that the international humanitarian financing through the World Bank, and the World Bank spring meetings are happening right now, that there is a whole movement, not just around, new trade blocks between Canada, Europe, and some of the BRICS, India notably, and others, but also really looking at how to reorganize international assistance as well. And my friends that live around the world, I lived in years for India, really are talking about, a new world order, and they just sort of are like, the U.S. is sort of going to be on its own. And I just think that has to be one of the priorities for the next administration, despite a big need to prioritize affordability and reinvestment in America, but rebuilding those strong relationships. And then it's going to take a long...
I think, if I may add to this, Andrea, I think that one of the wonderful points coming from the creative director of the Royal Danish Opera was that what makes Europe special, and he said that is that throughout history, European art has been critical of the establishment and curious. And that is what is the special take on the European culture that we should maintain despite cutting ties, for example, with US, or rather the US cutting ties with us. I think that's still how we see it. But also that we don't want to follow the lead of the leader of the free world, who now sees itself in a different position. But the question is if the culture in the United States will in the future be a mirror of what he says is characteristics of the European culture, because of course the US being created by Europeans traveling out, we have shared that, but the question is, will we experience a split in the values and culture behind movements, companies, and culture, where the US also export values and culture? And I think that is actually maybe the biggest underlying question, because if we share the same values and visions, we can always find a path. But if we don't, and momentarily we don't seem to, so that's that. How do you think that's going to play out with the US as a society looking away from that?
Can you repeat the last question? Sorry, I just want to, I cut out a little bit for me.
Okay.
Repeat the last sentence. It was very interesting insight, but the last bit of your question was, how is it going to play out with the go ahead, you rephrase.
So the artist said that the core of European culture is curiosity and critical creativity and a critical approach to things. So that has also been the base of the American culture. And he said, let's keep nurturing that as specific European, different from all the other emerging global hubs. But the question is, that I was trying to phrase, that is, will the United States maintain the same culture of critical curiosity towards the establishment, or have the U.S. already moved away from that shared values that was brought from Europe, but has that changed into something different?
Well, see, I don't know if it's changed into something different, but if I feel, I personally, well, my take on that is that there is a vibrant, creative, even more so than some of the big businesses, pushback going on right now in the United States that's exercising its free speech and critiquing this particular regime, and with it also kind of the state of affairs for average, American people. So, and you see it in the satire, which is, with comedians and particularly our late night show hosts who have been attacked by the regime. Well, not to mention the Pope just defunded a bunch of Catholic charities. Oh, this isn't political retaliation much. And also our musicians, Bruce Springsteen, I was speaking about this earlier, is doing a Land of Hopes and Dreams tour, which is, really, check out, go online and Google his opening statements in the concerts and what he's saying and how hard he is coming down. So, and of course, Trump is going after him as well. I think Trump called him a dried up prune, which is like Bruce Springsteen, even if he looked like a dried up prune, looks a million times better. But I'm just saying. But anyway, he has also come out and publicly stated that he does not give a damn about, I'm sorry, if I upset my fans or if I lose fans over this. This moment is bigger than any party. This isn't about a party. This is about, the attack on our rights and our democracy. And this is not who America is. He does... notably, he does call out that no one that I hear speaking out about this in the creative sense is actually saying that America is perfect and that it wasn't a failed, that there aren't some things there are many things that aren't working, but we were for a while we at least had some rule of law and a general respect for the rule of law and protection of citizens' rights, which we see really vastly under attack, and increased data surveillance. So, and also increasing the highest inequality gaps in a long time. So, something's not working in the system. It's something that ushered in the likes of Donald Trump. That's all being acknowledged. I'd say I shouted out Eminem earlier, who is, one of the most sold rappers around the world, but highly respected within the rap community, I guess, and the entertainment industry. And he is a tricky character, and he is very outspoken, and also, way more outspoken than even Springsteen on against Trump. So, and then there are many others. There's a fantastic country music artists that we played at the beginning of this room that's reaching out to folks to stand up against this moment, saying, where are you now? All the promises are broken, and it's very entertaining. And there's more. You're seeing pop-up flash like mob type performances. You're seeing young dancers enact the Epstein files in front of the Lincoln Memorial down in Washington, D.C. We're seeing bronze statues. Honestly, if you follow the artistic movement behind this, you'll get a really good laugh. And also, there's some very good health effects that come from laughing and taking a breath and a moment of comic relief about the insanity of it all. And not to mention all the artists and, in with the people of Minnesota and the signs and the protests and, the art, the actors that walk down the street of the No Kings protests. And I could go, and now there's some really great billboards coming up, which are showing Robert Reich, my former professor and former Secretary of Labor under Clinton, teaches now at Berkeley, is doing, he does fantastic, I think it's called inequality media that he works with, and he is, I think they're in a raise for something like 10 million. They're going to do a huge billboard spread around the country focusing on the issues. So, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some of them. I mean, then there was a Bad Bunny moment, which was not an overt, supported by the NFL, which was not an overt, FU, but it was, we're standing. The NFL knows clearly its customer base and its business model moving forward, and they basically, wanted to support, Bad Bunny and its fans and make a bigger statement. And I actually got like an inside take on this from someone weirdly in my neighborhood from the NFL who said, and they were actually a little worried, like they weren't sure what Bad Bunny was going to do when he actually got out on the stage. This was one of the most interesting conversations I've had in a while, which is that they were all imagine like you're at the Super Bowl and you're waiting for halftime and you have this huge production coming and you're sitting there going, not knowing if he was going to like stick to what they agreed to, because they were trying not to be completely overtly political at the same time. They were very much wanting to send not be told what to do with their halftime show and not succumb to that pressure. And also, sports unite. So they really wanted to support the positive and loving community type environment that Bunny show brought together. So sorry, I just went, I don't know how long was that, 10 minutes?
You did. Interesting note on that Bad Bunny performance was that he did a little video afterwards where he talked about the experience, and he said that the football, you recall, he was like clutching a football to his chest the whole time, and that was it had armor around it. It was what do you call it when people wear, it was a bulletproof football that was up against his heart that he carried the whole time through the whole performance. And the other thing was, that he talked about how Lady Gaga had like a brooch on her shirt or dress or whatever she was wearing. And that was the signal, was that if there was any danger, anything that was about to become explosive, she was to take this brooch off. And that was a signal for the whole stage to evacuate. So how
would she know?
Well, they've got people.
Oh, in the ear. Yeah, in the ear. Okay, got it.
Yeah. No, my only point being was they were anticipating the possibility of some violence. But going to like a meta place on this, what I heard you say, Susie, or ask, was whether the values of Americans were going to continue to be in sync with the values of Western Europeans. I think that was the question you were asking. And the answer to that question, which always leaves me with kind of a stomachache, is that I just feel like there's such a disconnect between people and government. It's kind of like, I think people love each other. I think people are fully capable of having empathy and love and support for other people, including people who are different from themselves. But somehow the governments are running this crazy circus of destruction. And I don't know how you reconcile that, although I would say that right now I think all eyes on Hungary, because that was a really positive moment for me anyway. Last week was when we got rid of Orban. I mean, that was a little bit of a glimpse of hope. So with that glimpse of hope, anybody else?
I just want to say one thing there. Oh my God, if I did that whole total rant and then didn't even answer your question, I'm sorry. That was probably my misunderstanding. But I think right now.
Ellen, you answered the question, but Andrea, you answered the question in a different way. But that was also an answer to the question, because my personal belief is that art is always a reflection of the people and the tendencies going on and what's coming tomorrow. That's art's job to look for. So I don't want you to feel bad about it. I think both of you are perfectly online, and I'm running out of battery, and I just want to share something amazing with you. On Monday, we will host our Monday room number 200 in the MedTech lobby. And I really want all of you to come and party with us if you can. It will be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, New York time. And I shared a link in the comment here. And as always, it's wonderful to be in this room. And thank you for inviting me on the stage.
Thank you, Sisti. I think I just want to share from friends from Europe and I have an alumni group chat with from my grad school, and folks were talking about that as well. They were talking about this alignment between Europe and US. And one of my friends in Europe was just saying that it feels very much like, the US is too much into might makes right. And I think it's shocking for people around the world to see us pivot to, whilst it hasn't been perfect and there's been all sorts of interventions in the past, to see our military used this way so quickly, for us to start acting, like the bully hegemon, very overtly with use of force and all that, has been quite shocking to everybody. So I think it's been majority of folks don't support it, the war and this type of action. So I have hope, though there's some internal heart-to-heart conversations addressing the values of the nation that I think needs to take place.
Well, Andrea, you'll be happy to know that I went out to our little coffee bar in our lobby yesterday, and all of the pamphlets were out there for voting, along with a sign-up sheet of people needed rides to get to vote in the primaries. In the midterms. So I thought that was really cool that in our building they were being proactive about that.
Hugely exciting. One of the best things you can do. But don't forget to check your voter registration and find out how you can help.
I've got a question. Elle, you had put up a link, and thanks for gifting the article, so it could be passed on to others. Just the headline itself said 51%. It didn't. I would not have written the headline. It just said 51% of Americans think the war in Iran has not been worthwhile. But it's only 25% support it. But they washed the language of the headline to bury the sentiment, right? Because 51% don't think it's worthwhile. It wasn't that the map didn't add up. It's just that they're burying the real thing is only a quarter of people, not even a quarter of Americans support this war. This is the most unpopular war. So to say that, anyway, don't think it's worthwhile I just think it's more of the fealty to and sycophancy to, they're either afraid of Trump or they're doing audience capture. And if their audience keeps paying for this, they're going to keep doing it.
From here?
Yeah, I have our traditional Friday song. It's good to see everybody here. Thank you, Elle, and thank you, Andrea. There's lots of stuff happening. We'll be back on Monday. So everybody have a good weekend. Here we go. Happy Friday. So bad. Come and Tuesday, I feel good. What about now?
you up. You get as much as you want. Yeah, it's really good. And it's way better than sugar. You know, I even tried that.
Probably depends on the intentions of the llama. So we're really missing a big component of this.
Actually, I think that llama was trained. I think it was staged because that kind of logic and reasoning skills in a four-legged animal.
You want her to answer it the way you want her to answer? Let that woman talk.
He asked, why didn't Reza say anything about the school?
They're reading a script. 372?
Is that what it says in the table of contents?
The paraphrase of Sherman.